Okay, so I wanted to share something really valuable to me with you. And that is recently my blood pressure went way up, which surprised me a lot because we eat what I considered very, very healthy. And what I've learned, which I'm so grateful for, is occurring for me and bringing my blood pressure down is what we call SOS, which means salt free, sugar free, oil free eating. So we're doing whole food, plant based SOS. And that has made me realize how damaging salt, even high quality salt, which we use, can be to the body over time.
Yeah, it's like this was really surprising with the diet and lifestyle that we've been living. That Connie's blood pressure went up. Now you say really high. What was really high? What are you talking about?
Well, it was between 140 and 150.
Yeah, and it's interesting because kind of normal is 140 and down in North America, but that's considered high for us. We're looking
Very
for 120.
Mine used to be 120 or less.
Yeah, and mine still is. But this is what's interesting for us to see, and what we read and hear is that as we age, blood pressure can begin to creep up. Now, it's been interesting as we've been doing more research on low sodium diets and no salt, how there are villages and groups of people around the world who have natively been eating just basically no added salt to their diet because they live out in the jungles and all they can eat is whole foods. And so they have what's called just a natural sodium-based intake, sodium level in their diet. And so there's no added salt. And everybody has these normal blood pressure, has normal blood pressure from the time they're born into their teens, into their 20s. And even the octogenarians, the 80-year-olds, they still have that same blood pressure that they had when they were 20. Very interesting.
Well, you know what concerns me too in doing the little bit of research I've done on salt and its impact on the arteries. Salt, if we eat much salt, it can really impact our arterial function. And so that's very concerning because we don't want to move that blood pressure and arterial function to an unhealthy level or an unhealthy place to really have no Alzheimer's, no heart attack, no diabetes, blah, blah, blah. So I'm really glad I've made this shift, but why am I really glad besides the blood pressure is I'm finding my taste buds have gotten much more heightened. And I find the taste of watermelon or cherries or grapes or a string bean or even greens out of the garden or lettuce is so sweet. I never realized that its underlying taste could be so delicious, so much more delicious than when I was adding salt. And sometimes we would put oil too, but that hasn't been for quite a while.
Yeah, so we've been SOS free for quite a while now, well, maybe almost a year. And it's been great because Connie's blood pressure's come down and staying down. And so just a little definition about the SOS free diet. We're talking about sugar, oil, and salt. And we need salt, minerals in our bodies. We need oil, healthy oils in our bodies. And we need sugar, natural sugar. So it's not that the body isn't getting sugar, oil, or salt. It's just getting it in the whole food form, which reduces the levels that the normal diet has tremendously. So no salt shakers, no adding the half or quarter teaspoon into recipes and that. And it's interesting because, like Connie says, it makes a shift over time in your palate. So you really enjoy the food.
Yeah, I
You like the flavors.
appreciate it. I
Yeah.
like it better, much better. And I am very surprised.
Yeah, but we're still able to get all of the healthy minerals, healthy oils, healthy fats, and healthy natural sugars that the body needs to really thrive.
With whole food
Yeah.
plant-based. So natural salts, natural oils. Okay, so all of our foods contain some level of natural salt.
Natural
Oh,
meaning sodium. Yeah.
yeah.
So there's sodium in zucchini and kale and all, we're not going to have a shortage of sodium when we don't use a salt shaker.
Yeah, and then the natural oils, you want to get your oils from being very judicious with these foods, but from nuts and seeds and avocado. Those are the whole food plant-based sources, and they're wonderful sources.
And the sugar.
Well, that comes with the fruit that we eat.
Yeah. So we get everything we need and actually start to enjoy the taste of it more. A lot of research has pointed out that salt is one of the main ingredients in so many of the processed foods, the addictive foods. And so we've just gotten accustomed to having so much salt in our diet. And what they find, a lot of the reason that a lot of the manufacturers put so much salt in their processed foods is it tends to lead toward overconsumption.
Yeah, it makes them addictive too.
Yeah, when I was growing up, there was a commercial for Lay's potato chips where a young kid from school is getting out of the school bus and he shows this bag to the school bus driver and says, "Bet you can't eat just one." And don't we all know that? Especially when they combine the salt and the fat and the sugar together, which is a potato chip.
Which is most processed food.
Yeah, so many of the processed foods. So yeah, especially when all three of them are combined, it's really not healthy. It causes spikes in high blood pressure. Like Connie was saying, arterial function really drops. They've been showing that higher levels of sodium in the diet affect the microbiome and the immune cells. So we're not as healthy that way. And of course, the high fat diets are only possible when we're eating meat or adding a lot of free oil.
Yeah, and saturated fat oils especially, but even any oil in a bottle.
Yeah, and of course the high fat diets are associated with cancer, diabetes, cardiovascular disease, these kinds of things. So we're playing with SOS Free Eating and we're really liking it. So we wanted to share that with you and encourage you to give it a try and see what you think. It really is, I think, an addition to our foundation of healthy living.
Now, one thing that I've learned also that I wanted to share is sumac, SUMAC, is a spice that tastes lemony and salty. So you can use that in your food if you want to have a little saltier tasting flavor.
What are you going to share for a recipe?
Oh, we're doing a great recipe. It's a mock tuna salad. Oh, it's so good. And you only have to prep green onions and celery. It takes minutes to make. So take a look at the recipe and make sure you have all the ingredients on hand. And then it's really quick. And I serve it on a nice bed of lettuce. So I get a lot of my green veggies, which are so important to have great health.
Yeah, give it a try. I think you'll like it.
Thanks for joining us.
Bye for now.